The first is great communication skills. Number 2, negotiation skills. Number 3, problem solving skills. Number 4, how to analyze deals, obviously. And number 5, you're gonna need to build some resilience. What's going on, everyone? My name is Aaron, aka The Anxious Investor, providing you with weekly videos to save yourself money, heartache, and hopefully give yourselves a few laughs in the process, along with all the information you need to get yourself started in property. Now, before I jump into skill number 1, I would be very grateful if you'd head over towards that like button, choose your weapon of choice and smash the hell out of it. And if you haven't already subscribed, come on. I promise you, you won't get any information like this anywhere else on the internet with no strings attached. So consider subscribing if you're new to the channel. Anyways, let's jump straight into this video. And for each skill set I'm going to mention, I'm going to also recommend one book. So, skill number 1, communication skills. Now, the book I'd recommend for this is How to Win Friends and Influence People by one of my favorite authors, Dale Carnegie, link in the description below. Now, you've all likely seen my bloopers and are likely thinking, this guy can barely string a sentence together sometimes. And I'd have to agree, but communication isn't always about fancy words or phrases that make your ears perk up. It's about being able to relay what you can offer or what you want more effectively. For example, if you're looking to raise finance from a private investor for property, then you need to demonstrate through your communication what you can offer them in return and why you should be trusted. Similarly, if you want to speak direct to vendor, you want to be clear and concise in your wording. Telling them that you're looking to do a lease option tied in with an assisted sale with a title split in their backyard whilst controlling their home is going to make their brains frazzle, and you'd get nowhere in that negotiation or potential deal. So for that reason, you want to have almost an elevator pitch, but you want to pitch it as if you're pitching to children. And you want it to be useful, explaining stuff like who you are, what you can do, and how you can help other people. And this will help you, I promise, across many areas of property investing. But on top of that, you also want something even more important than all of that. You need to be able to connect with them. If you can communicate well enough with someone to gain their attention and hold on to it, you're going to be an amazing property investor. And here's a very quick tip that people often forget. Learn to listen. People who listen more than they speak are often considered to be liked more by the person that they're interacting with. And they're often considered better communicators, which is pretty crazy. But remember the fact that people like talking about themselves. So let them. Just know when to join in and add your piece of value. The second skill, negotiation skills. Now, the book I recommend for this is Never Split the Difference. Link in the description below. Now, negotiation skills are so important as a property investor, not just for getting what you need, but also for assuring you don't burn any bridges. You see, so often people are offering ridiculous prices, 25% BMV, 30% BMV, without any sort of rationale. And without this kind of justification or proper negotiation, it often burns a lot of relationships with estate agents and vendors. And you never really want to ruin your relationships, seeing as you're likely going to need these people in the future. Now, I'm going to teach you a skill I learned in my early years as a project manager, which is more about psychology. And it's about letting that person you're negotiating with feel like they're winning too. For example, I'm just choosing these numbers off the top of my head. If a vendor is after £200,000 for their property, but you're only able to make it work out around £185,000, and let's just say you're going back and forth. They want £200,000, you want £185,000. If you go in at around £170,000 and you explain the rationale behind this, i.e. it requires a little bit of work, maybe you're having difficulty releasing enough funds to meet that £200,000, for example, and you kind of let them ponder with that, but then incrementally move your way back up. This can help massively. So the process of going back up, they will feel like they're gaining money from you rather than the notion that they're still below their asking price. And by the time you stress that, okay, look, I'm happy to go an extra £15,000 up and meet in the middle, like £185,000, this could potentially allow that deal to work for yourselves. And this is because in that negotiation, they've gone from you offering 170 to getting 185,000 out of you, thinking they've made 15,000, when really you've got that price anyway, but you just negotiated it the right way. It's a bit like, I suppose, when you buy a top for £180, but it was initially £500. Many of you think you've saved £320. I just think you spent £180. Okay, moving on to skill 3 now. Book recommendations for this one is The Critical Thinker. And skill set number 3 is problem solving skills. Now, these are fundamental in this game. You aren't just buying properties and trying to make money. You are solving problems. Be that solving problems for a vendor to sell quickly, or maybe assist them in getting a higher purchase for their property if you're a deal sourcer, for example, and finding them the best offer. You're always going to be problem solving.
Plus, even when you're renovating and you're doing jobs, there's so many problems you have to overcome. Now, when you can start to see yourself as someone who solves problems for vendors or for other people, this is where you start to raise your game. You'll go from a place of having a slightly selfish motive behind your purchases to being more of a helpful one for other people. You can do things ethically in this game, and it's not about saying I'm doing things ethically, it's about demonstrating it. Remember, money isn't everything. It can only be spent once. Relationships can be used forever. Think long term and don't cash out for a quick payday. Let's move on to skill number 4. Now, I don't actually have a specific book for this, so I figured this is the perfect time to remind you to smash the hell out of that like button if you haven't already. And skill set 4 is how to analyze deals. So I don't know how much detail you need on this particular point, as I have a few videos flying around about this particular topic, and there's a link below under the book recommendations of a way that you can download my deal analyzer should you so wish. But analyzing deals is crucial. Now, I appreciate it's not as simple as just putting numbers into a spreadsheet. Things like knowing the cost of works are crucial to move forward in this game, but a lot of it comes with on the ground experience, and it's very tough to just say on a video it's going to cost this much. But the key behind a lot of property investing is to get your numbers right. Remember, if your numbers are wrong, all the other skills, they're pretty worthless. This is probably the most important skill, because investing is about returns. And if you get the returns wrong, it don't matter how well you communicate. So make sure you learn to do that. Now, skill set number 5 is resilience. And we're going to begin by looking at the definition of resilience first. According to Google, it's the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. And the second definition is the ability of a substance or an object to spring back into shape, i.e. elasticity. Now, although they are great examples in my eyes of what resilience means, I don't just believe it's all about the ability to bounce back, as I also feel it's more about your capacity to adapt in the face of adversity, whilst maintaining a stable mental well-being. You see, resilience is also something that we can all take steps to achieve as well, so don't worry, it's not a personality trait. And what I'm going to do is just give you a few pointers to maybe help you build your resilience. First is to have a higher purpose in what you do. You know, when you see mothers doing amazing things for the children, and fathers by the way, don't worry, and you think, how did they do that? It's because they have something more important than themselves in their life. The second one is accepting and embracing change. You have to get used to change. The world is changing at such a quick rate that the sooner you can roll with the punches and accept it, the less resistance you'll find in your life. The third, practice self-love. Now, I'm a huge mental health advocate, as many of you know. I've been in the space for years, and even in the products that we've created here, link in description below, I'm so concerned with people's well-being, not just physically and mentally, and I promise you that is way more important than making any amount of money in property or making loads of money. Now, I appreciate this may go slightly off tangent, so what I'm going to do is just recommend the book that actually had me handing in my notice for my last 9 to 5, which was by Les Brown, and it's called The Power of Purpose, down below. So please have a look. Maybe look on Google, maybe even listen to the Find Your Voice podcast that I host as well, about building your own resilience, because this is going to be a massive test when you're in this game. A lot of these people won't tell you the truth of actually being a property investor. They'll only show you the good stuff and never really talk about those lonely nights or those times you're battling back and forth with your mind. I want to try and share that on this channel without boring you guys half to death. So make sure you check that out. If there's anything else you need, please do drop it down in the comments below. You should have smashed the hell out of the like button, and now it's time to roll those bloopers. Thanks for watching. Knowing, I'm spitting on myself. Hopefully by now you've all kicked the shit. Oh shit. Shouldn't have said, that's a lot of, I'm not even gonna say it. Buy my work, buy my work, buy my work, work.